Good morning and g'day mate, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and of course we have the wonderful Mr. Icarus. And doesn't that just sum up this series beautifully? Like sunrise rising over in this logistics tower with green science just, you know, shadowing in the background. It just explains this series so well, because this series we start off with just a simple let's play, and then after blueprints were released, we started moving on to, you know, what I've dubbed a black box build, and it's what we've been working on. In fact, the last episode, just a quick recap, last episode we managed to get 2 black box builds done, and that was, well, Green Science, which is also making warpers for us and has already filled up this tower with a lot of warpers ready to go. At the same time, we also managed to get the frame materials. Now, the frame materials are being shipped off all over the world, and that is really what this black box build's about. Well, not all over the world, all over the galaxy. The black box builds are really about like making a product from as simple an item as possible, like as base an ingredient as possible. Make sure that we don't max out any particular tower, importing or exporting too many items, and at the same time make sure that these blueprints are available to you guys. So if you want to expand your frame material production, or you want to do a ridiculous amount of research like we're doing currently, you can just grab one of these blueprints, pop it down your base, and start making an extra, what is it, 15 frame material per second, which just required this particular blueprint to bring in, you know, as basic material as possible. So we're bringing in titanium alloy, which is just, you know, basic materials that have been smelted. In this case of titanium alloy, it's been smelted twice, and of course high purity silicon, which has been smelted once, and also bringing carbon nanotubes, which previously wherever possible we're trying to make things as part of one continuous build, so you can just pop down something and it has everything, except carbon nanotubes require so many processes that we'd already made a carbon nanotube build that produces 30 carbon nanotube per second, and we just needed 60 carbon nanotubes, so we just popped down 2 builds and away we went. And, you know, building this for the first time took longer than blueprinting down both the carbon nanotube builds that are now producing 60 nanotubes per second, which are filling up this tower and keeping everything running hunky-dory. But today's episode, we're continuing on with our theme. We're moving on to our next item, because we've been working our way up through the game, completing, you know, pretty much every single item in the game so far. If we bring up the F for the freaking handcrafting menu, of course we've got smelting. All those blueprints are available on my Discord server. Jump on Discord if you want to grab the blueprints. They're all available there, because it's a convenient, easy way for me to share them with you guys. Also means that when I update them, I don't have to find 10 different videos where I've linked to the different blueprints. I can just update them on Discord and you guys can get the latest version. We've also automated the magnetic coils, of course the electric motors, gears, the turbines, the super magnetic rings. Like, this whole branch has been automated. We've done particle broadband, we've done processors, we've done circuit boards. We did in a previous episode, actually 2 episodes ago, we did the graviton lens, which required the cashmere crystals, which required the particle containers, which required the strange matter. We did a whole bunch of deuterium with fractionators, which is also on this planet. We have these lovely fractionator builds that bring out a belt of hydrogen, produce a belt with a deuterium, and they just run continuously in the background. You know, if we find out we're short of deuterium, guess what? We're just going to blueprint another build down. It's done. It's dusted. We have... We've put down, of course, we've automated, well, organic crystals we dig up out of the ground. Anytime we need titanium crystals, the few rare times you need it, either directly for science or for cashmere crystals, it was part of the cashmere crystal build. So, of all the things left to automate, we really only have solar sails. We've already done the frame materials. We have the Dyson Sphere components and the small carrier rockets. There's not a lot left, honestly. So, today, we're going to be working on the solar sails. So, solar sails... we're actually going to do a very, very advanced build, okay? Because solar sails require the photon combiners, and the photon combiners have 2 different recipes. One is the basic recipe, which requires prisms, which of course prisms require glass requires stone. It's basically your main consumption of stone in the galaxy. The other recipe requires the optical grading crystal. Now, optical grading crystal only has two uses. One is the photon combiner. The other one is the cashmere crystal. Because cashmere crystals, our choice is titanium crystals, which, let's be honest, we mine organic crystal. We smelt titanium. We have plenty of titanium. And it's one of those. Or we can swap it out for four. Four of a rare resource. We obviously never use it for cashmere crystals. But we can use it for photon combiners, because we can, rather than having 2 lots of prism, which is, a whole bunch of glass, which is a whole bunch of stone, we can just use a simple, rare resource. So we need to, what I want to do is when I build solar cells, I want to have both recipes. I want to have both recipes active at the same time. That means that I can use the optical grading crystal, but should I run short? Should I not be careful with my outposting? Should I run out, be lazy, whatever you want to call it? The recipe will default back to the glass recipe. So that is going to be our plan. Now, to do that, we're going to need a couple of different assemblers, and we're going to be sort of building this backward because it's going to be a little bit confusing. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a basic recipe, which is going to require good old, turn that off, it's going to require good old prisms, okay? Now, for every 2 prism machines, we can have 3 machines doing photon combiners, okay? So, we can straight away get a lovely recipe where we can direct insert from this prism machine into both these photon combiner machines and do the same again. And that gives us a very, very wonderful recipe. Now, because we're going to be aiming for 30 solar cells per second, okay? For every 1 solar cell, we're going to get, for every 2 solar cells, we're going to need 1 photon combiner, which means for every photon which means we're going to need 15 photon combiners per second. They take 3 seconds to craft. We're going to simplify all the maths. I'm just going to tell you the answer. We're going to need 30 machines doing photon combiners. Therefore, we're going to need 20 machines doing prisms. Now, prisms are going to require glass. They require a lot of glass, so we're going to mark out some belts with glass. We're actually going to need a belt and a half worth of glass. Okay, obviously, we're going to need a couple of sorters. So in, drag, drop. Okay, so the next thing the photon combiners are going to need is going to be circuit boards. So we're going to put a belt down there for circuit boards. We're also going to put down a belt in front. Yeah, let's put down a belt in front. So this is going to be the output for photon combiners. I really sort of wish we could mark things whether they be like with a click and hold button. We could mark things whether it's going to be the basic recipe or the advanced recipe, just for little fiddly times like this when I'm actually going to be using both recipes. Okay, so to do that, we're going to have an output and an input, and we're going to drag that down. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 1 is to make photon combiners, okay, from the basic recipe. On top of that, I'm going to want another set of assemblers. No, I want to change the way those sorters work. I want to have you guys drag from the rear of the belts, yep, because I'm going to put down another assembly machine right here. This one is also going to be doing photon combiners, lo and behold. Okay, now it's going to require, and actually, what else do we have to fit in? We also have to fit in your crystals. That should be fine. Yeah, okay, alright. So you're also going to do photon combiners. I'm trying to think through this recipe as we build it, so, bear with me. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in circuit boards there. This way, this one grabs off the belt first, so it has first preference. We're going to have it output to there and pick up from there, okay? Now, we're going to put down 3 of those as well, just so we can, keep things lined up and neat. At the same time, the next thing we're going to need to make is, from my tower, I want to make the actual circuit boards. So, circuit boards wise, we're going to need yet another assembly machine to make all our circuit boards, okay? All our circuit boards to only feed one of these builds at a time, because we're only going to be running one of these builds at a time. We're going to make sure the way we build this build is it automatically turns off. So it has to automatically turn off when we don't require any we want to run one build at a time and then make sure that the build turns off when not required. Hang on, I've just realized that I might want to... Yes, I want to move that belt to there. No. Yes, no, yes. Okay. Alright. No. No was the final answer. Okay, we're going to have circuit boards coming out here. Now, from our towers, we should probably put down a tower, just so we can start talking about things. I don't know where the tower's going to go in the long run, but we need to bring in, we already know we need to bring in glass, okay? I need to bring in 2 belts worth of glass, okay? Plus, I need to bring in 1 belt of the optical grading crystal, okay? Then I could directly bring in circuit boards, but for the hassle of bringing in circuit boards, I could just bring in iron and copper. Now, circuit boards, the recipe, if we just click on this really quickly, the recipe for circuit boards is basically 1 bit of iron turns into 1 bit of circuit board with half a bit of copper, okay? So, grand total is we need just 5 machines to produce all the circuit boards we possibly need, okay? Which means we need half a belt worth of iron, which means quarter of a belt worth of copper, plus 1 belt here of the optical grading crystals. So that's what, half, 3/4, 1 3/4, plus 1.5 belts worth of glass. So we can see that our usage out of 1 tower is very, very minimum. And in case you're new to this series, I cap my towers, so I make sure that I never bring out more than 4 belts of 30 items per second. So I make sure my towers output less than 120 items per second. Otherwise, you're going to have a great difficulty in trying to feed the towers and keep them running. So our next plan is going to be obviously iron and copper in any particular order. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to mark these as so, iron and copper. Okay, so we're going to have to go in, out, and helps if I actually run the belt there. Okay, and that goes to there. Then we're going to have to, some way, and it should be easy enough, bring that up, bring that over, bring it to there, and then straight down to there. Okay, so we're going to have to remark. Can I shorten that up even more? Yeah, let's shorten that up even more. Bring that up. Bring that... Can I just take it straight down? I can. Yeah, sure. That was not intentional, but that is even less intentional. That rotation. Okay, so we're going to have you marked as circuit boards and you marked as circuit boards, just so we can sort of keep track of what belts what. I should probably move these down because chances are everything above here is going to end up getting deleted. You're going to be, of course, glass, and glass. Okay, so we have our optical grading crystals. Okay, sorry, photon combiners. Our next step is to actually make, where are we? Solar cells. Okay, so solar cells are going to require, again, for every 2 solar cells, they're going to require 1 bit of graphene. Okay, so we're going to need to make half a belt with graphene using, obviously, the best way to make graphene is this recipe here, is with fire ice. But my tower's maxed out. So before we move too much further, let's bring up, let's put in a power pole. So I should be able to put a power pole there and power up most of that stuff. We should be able to remove some belts because I definitely want to take advantage of blueprinting here. We want to go from there to there. Nope. There to there. And, okay, grab some foundation first. That tower, all the foundation, and that tower, all the foundation. Cool, that solves that problem. Foundation, bury, go away, and go away, because you're officially going to be in my way. Alright, so as I said, we need 30 of these guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste that down, we're going to drag that out, we're going to hit the minus button so the belts line up. I'm going to say that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our build. We've learned a new thing, that if you blueprint the markers on the belts, they also get pasted down, which I'm actually not mad about. In fact, I'm so not mad about it, we're gonna just remove everything and do that a second time. That way we have markers on every belt. And I'm starting to think that that's maybe how I'll do my blueprints. I'll have a marker, lots of markers very, very often, so you can have a clear definition of what goes where. Okay, so I want to drag that out, click minus. So that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? Oh, plus. Okay, I trimmed the belts one too far. Okay, try again. There to there. Paste. So that's 2. Wrong button. Yep, that joins them together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Alright, so that pastes down the whole build and now duplicates all our markers all the way through, which, like I said, I really, really like. Okay, so after we get to the end, which is all the way down here, and yes, my bots are that fast, we have this belt of photon combiners and this belt of photon combiners, okay? On top of that, our optical gradient crystal and circuit belts end, our glass belts end. We should do just a quick double check. We should have exactly 30 assembly machines right there. And then what we want to do is we want to force this belt to become the priority. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to side load that one in. Okay, so this means that any material coming down here gets first preference. Okay, and only if this belt happens to have gaps in it, or it's not running, or anything like that, then does this belt, then does this belt and this build kick in. Okay, so we've intentionally prioritized to make sure we're going to use the optical gradient crystal recipe first, which is the wrong recipe. Good trick, JD. We just need to, just quickly just change that back so we're using the correct recipe. Otherwise, it would never run. Yep. One on the end. There we go. Okay. So, we've automatically preferenced that we're going to use the optical gradient crystal recipe first. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to make the solar cell first. I know we still need graphene. I know we still need to bring in fire ice. We'll get there in a second. Next thing is going to be solar cells. Now, solar cells is 1 optical gradient crystal in, 1 graphene in, and that's going to give us 2 solar cells. So, what I want to do is I want to take this belt. Best way to do this is probably this way. We're just going to take that belt up to there. We're going to put down our production, which is going to be actually our best way to do it is we're going to imagine. We're going to make sure we have a 1-tile gap for graphene. Actually, I already know the graphene is going to end up coming from back here somehow. We'll get to how later, after we actually make a graphene build, but, it's going to come from back there. So we're going to, you know what? We're going to extend that belt out 1 tile. We're going to mark you as graphene because we can. We're going to move you over a tile. We're then going to bring our photon combiners here in the middle and drag you up to there. Okay, it's obviously also going to need an output belt, which we're going to put right here. We need to mark you as an output belt so we know what's what. So you're going to be our output belt being that one. You're going to be making solar cells. You're going to be a graphene belt. We're going to need to go in from graphene, in from the photon combiners. Can I get those in a better condition? Yeah, okay. So after all's said and done, we're going to put another assembler on the other side of the belt, which is going to magically have another graphene belt that's going to go this way this time. We're going to bring in graphene, output solar cells, bring in photon combiners. We're going to go in probably sets of 3. Power. Okay, let's turn that on really quickly so we can see how bad our power connections are. There. Alright, let's do this in sets of 3. So we're going to set you up to be that one. We're going to set you up to be that one. And then I'm going to trim off you and you. And actually I need to trim all of those. Because we're going to try and copy and paste. Because that way it puts little markers on there. I've got to admit, I am so a fan of those little markers now. I found out this is how it works. Alright, so we're going to copy from there to there. I'm going to leave the power pole in, which is not something I normally do. No, I need one more belt. So you're going that way, you're going that way, you're going that way, and you're going that way. Okay. Try again. There to there. Paste. Hit the minus button. Okay, so we need 40 assemblers. Thanks. You're in my way. As are those belts. Yeah, I thought you might complain. Okay, let's try that again. We're just going to drag it. The right spacing, that's the right spacing. We're going to drag it as far as we can, which is there. I do love fast spots. Okay, matter of curiosity, we have 18. That doesn't seem right. We have 36, and we need 40. Well, I'm pretty sure I can hand build, what, 4 more? Let's bring you... Actually, no, let's not hand build. Let's... Really? I lost the blueprint? Okay. There to there. That way I can paste that on and get the markers. And how many do I need? 4. So you and you should go away. Alright, so that should give us our 40 machines. Yes, we have 40 assemblers. Okay, so obviously, that belt die. Okay, this is going to be a graphene belt, which is going to, you know, loop back to there. Alright, so we're going to bring in graphene from down here somewhere and bring it up around the backside. Now, let's just put a power pole. Let's go with here, so you stop harassing me. And then here. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we need a graphene build. Graphene builds come from autosaves, which is a wonderful time. I can thank all the YouTube members and the Patreon members that are definitely helping support this channel and have been featured in the names of many, many stars around our galaxy. So if you wish to become a star, you can always support the channel by clicking the join button. It's right beside the like button, which you should have already clicked. Also beside the subscribe button, which you should definitely already have clicked at least once whilst visiting this channel. And you can also support the channel and become a star. So with all that out of the way, we need to put in a single machine that is going to do graphene, okay, from Fire Ice. Now, Fire Ice is going to obviously need graphene belts. Well, yeah, let's line that up in there. Okay, so we're going to move you forward a tile because we can. So you're going to make graphene. Let's turn that back off because it's really annoying. So graphene also is going to require Fire Ice being brought in, and then the graphene recipe from Fire Ice also has a waste product being hydrogen. Okay, so we're going to we're going to drag out 2 of you guys. We're going to do these again 2 at a time. So you're going to be output graphene, input Fire Ice, output hydrogen. Okay. Drag that to there, put a power pole here, yes. We're going to mark up our belts. Let's mark them here. Okay, so you're going to be graphene, you're going to be Fire Ice, and you're going to be hydrogen. We want, I think that should be the copy paste point. So we should be able to grab, nope, from there to... there, paste, there, minus. Okay, so ooh, that looks very tight. No, it looks right. Okay, so we're going to need 15 of these guys to produce half a belt worth of graphene, which is going to need half a belt worth of fire ice, and it's going to produce a waste product of a quarter belt of hydrogen. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Oh look, one built, done, dusted, put in. We just need to pull off the guy on the end. Yeah, turns out you're a waste product. Okay, so with all that done, we have this convenient little hole right here. This little hole right here that has nothing important that could possibly do, which we're going to now convert into a tower, which needs to do a couple of things. One, it's going to have to bring in fire ice. Actually, can we slide you over a little bit? Yeah, let's put you there. Okay, how do I have to bring in fire ice? It's going to have to be able to export hydrogen, get rid of the hydrogen. It's also, funnily enough, going to need to bring in solar cells, because we need somewhere to put the solar cells. We were running the solar cell belt out the front. Turns out we're going to have to run the belt up the rear. Also turns out I never marked that belt, which is really unfortunate. This could get very awkward. No, it should be alright. Okay, we should be able to mark you as a solar sail. Down there. Okay. And then let's do a copy from there to there. Paste, minus. Hey, we got it lined up. Isn't that cool? Alright, remove that. Paste, I want that in there. And then we're just going to drag the rest of the belt through manually. It turns out that graphene belt needs to come up to there, down to there. That's going to be our solar sails, which are going to run straight into that tower. That's going to be our fire ice, which is going to not go into the graphene belt. It's going to go straight into the fire ice belt. And that would be our hydrogen, which is going to conveniently come back into that tower. Okay. So, if we turn back on the flashy of death, we can see that obviously I'm missing some power poles. That would be there. And probably here, which should also get that tower. That tower is going to need to bring in warpers. How many do I have on me? 80. You can have half of those. Local demand, remote storage. We're going to max out the recharge rate. Make sure that if they're going to use warpers, they use them as fast as possible. Also make sure when drones are moving things around, they're going to move around 100 at a time, not just move around 10 items at a time. That's a bit of a waste of fuel and power. Okay, so that's that tower set up. Is that really all it needs? It must be. Okay. Then this brings us to this tower. Is there a better way to do those circuits? Because I really don't like the fact that the belt's going over the other belt. Okay, so let's get some basics. That belt doesn't need to exist. That belt doesn't need to exist. Technically, that belt needs to be one shorter, which is there. That circuit board obviously would have to get moved down as well. Remove that. Can I just remove? Thank you. That needs to go away. Change that to be photon combiners as well. Look, it's just quicker to remove the belt segments than it is to remark them. Okay, and then that also leaves the same with glass, which I also managed to get off by 12. Glass. Okay. So, can we do something about this wiggly belt? Well, the easiest answer is yes. Rather than outputting... Okay, let's remove that, which means you guys no longer have an input. Okay, we'll fix that in a second. Remove... No, do not remove the whole belt. Just remove that piece. We're going to have belt come from here, to here, to here, to there. Which is, of course, going to remove our marker, which we're going to put back in. And then you guys are obviously going to have to... Sure, just go away. It's quicker and easier. We're going to have to make you guys just reach a little bit further. Okay, which then means, actually we should probably put the marker back in, just to, you know, keep the uniformity. Alright, which means you are going to have to be our optical grading crystal into that optical grading crystal belt, which needs to have a marker there, a marker there. I know I'm going way overboard with these markers, but like I said, I really, really like them. What's your optical grading crystal as well? Okay, so that just means this tower needs to exist somewhere which is not in isolation, which I'm thinking there. It's like roughly centered. Sure, there. Okay, so you're going to bring out number 2 optical grading crystal. Plug it in there. You're going to bring out iron and plug in there. You're going to bring out copper and plug into there. You're going to have 100 warpers. Cool. You're going to bring out glass on this side, number 1. Plug into, not that belt, but you know, you get my picture. You're going to go into there, and you're also going to do glass, which is going to go into there. You're going to have some little shippies, some, where are the big ships gone? Big ships, we're going to set up local demand, remote storage. We're going to max that, min that, max that. You don't get power. That's the only thing that I didn't manage to perfect on the first time around. Okay, fine. I'm going to throw a power pole. Actually, we have that spare power pole, don't we? Oh, we do. Which needs to go to there. Hey, everything's powered. Okay, so you have your ships. You have your ships. We're going to set up... actually, there's nothing to do but turn it on. Okay, so we're going to hit remote demand, local demand. We're going to set this one to remote, local, local, remote, local, remote. These are other towers that are pushing the materials here. We also set up that one, which I'm actually surprised ships are leaving to bring us. I didn't actually think we had any optical grading crystals in warp enabled towers. And if I put a power pole there, everything should power up. And you should start charging. Yes, you have ships leaving to get fire ice. And we can cheese the system probably by coming here and saying, I would like 5,000 fire ice, which I'm going to put directly into that tower to fire it up in a hurry. You are receiving all your deliveries of glass and iron and copper. Optical grading crystal is just a second behind. We are already fired up the fire ice, so that is providing the graphene, which is coming down here and preloading these towers. Glass is kicked in already, so has both iron and copper. So we're producing circuit boards, which are now running down here, but we do not have the optical grading crystal yet. So we're waiting on that to arrive. As soon as that arrives, we should see that this system take over. I just saw a ship come in. I got so thrilled. I thought it was the optical grading crystal. I need to stand a little bit higher. That didn't help. Yeah, as soon as that belt kicks in, we should... Did I not? I did not set up those sorters. Okay, you, and you. Custom extra sorter that reaches a little bit further. Yeah, as soon as the optical grading crystal kicks in, we should see that this build takes over and the other build stops functioning. Okay, it should back up on the belt. It just requires that the stuff actually runs. No idea where our closest optical grading crystal is. And yeah, trying to look for it in that mess is going to be shit shoot. Yeah. What do we bring in? Oh, all that glass. Oh yeah, we're gonna go through so much glass. That's alright. It's alright. It finally means we can start getting rid of, start ridding the galaxy of stone, little bit by little bit. Okay, drones are picking up hydrogen, taking the hydrogen off because, as I said, it's a waste product. There we go. There's the optical grading crystal. So, optical grading crystal is now running. Okay, That means we can see that we are outputting on this belt right in front of me, and we're going to stand here at this junction just for a second, because we can see this belt is running fairly fast, okay? The one on the left. The one straight ahead, not quite there yet, but give it a second to power up, because we're making 15 per second, but the belt moves 30 per second. We're only consuming 15 per second. And as we can see already, whenever this belt backs up just a little bit, doesn't have to be an awful lot, just has to be a little bit, whenever it backs up, it means that this belt on my left stops running. Okay, now we are having a little bit of a fight about circuit boards, okay, because, you know, there's only enough circuit boards to really feed, well, one of these two builds. We can probably improve that slightly. Okay, if I bring that belt out to there, because I have the space, we can set that to be that. We can remove that belt. We can remove, oh, yeah, those sorters. We can drag you out to there, which I have this dead bit of space. So we might as well, if we're going to, we might as well set up 3 more circuit boards. It's overkill at this point. Right? 3 more circuit boards means we can run almost, well, we can run 1.5 of the photon combiner builds now. Can you have those so I don't have to see them anymore? Because yes, whilst there's this argument over circuit boards, it's going to cause a little bit of a mismatch in the system, because, you know, the build on the right's not getting the circuit boards, so it can't fully populate that belt. Therefore, the build on the left is stealing the circuit boards. We're ending up with a situation where we are using a little bit from the left. Ideally, I want the build on the left to turn off entirely, and probably the best way to fix that is to import the iron, the copper, wait for the whole belt of circuit boards to fill up, and then, because it's full, bring in the the optical graining crystals. Once that's booted up once, it should maintain 100% throughput. Should. Not quite. But we can definitely see now that we're now in a situation where 80% of the time it's using the optical graining crystal recipe. Actually, I think we just hit 100%. Oh no, we just had a little bit slip through, but we can see circuit boards are now making it down this far down the belt, because now we're if this build on the left is not running, it's not consuming circuit boards. Like, it might have to pre-buffer circuit boards all the way through, but as the build turns off, it's going to stop pre-buffering. So therefore, the build on the right can grab the circuit boards, and then as soon as that has, again, it's pre-buffered as well, we get into a situation where only the build on the right is running. So which means in 38 minutes, we have made one full belt, 30 solar cells per second. They're available in the global network, so they can be shipped anywhere in the galaxy. We're doing it from as raw a resource as possible. We're just using, like, in the case of optical graining crystal, that's just dug straight out of the ground. Everything else has been smelted once. Over here we have fire ice, which I guess we could say we dug it out of the ground. Probably it came from an ice giant. And we're now producing in a very simple, very basic blueprint, which, as I said, is available on Discord. We're now doing black box solar sails. It does that recipe. It is 30 solar. Black box advanced solar cells. Okay, so it does 30 solar cells per second from both photon combiner recipe. Okay, typing is hard tonight, but the blueprint will be available in Discord. At the same time, I will also fill out, because I have been doing this with all the blueprints, filling out exactly how many materials it's going to be using. So, you know, the fact that it only uses half a belt worth of, so 15 iron per second, 7.5 copper per second, 30 optical graining crystal, 45 glass per second. Glass? It is glass? Yeah, it is 45, and 15 fire ice per second, and gives you 30 solar cells per second, which is like, it's a good amount. It's a good amount. It's going to be enough to fill in most of your Dyson Spheres. And if it's not, like, well, paste the second copy. Anyway, with all that said, this is where I'm going to call this episode. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, you like the advanced way of building, make sure we're doing both builds. We have a backup solution if we ever run out of optical grading crystals. By all means, give the video a like. At the same time, share it with a friend. Got a friend, got a forum, got anything like that where people are interested in Dyson Sphere, by all means, share it out with them because, yeah, I'm actually really proud of this build. Anyway, with all that said, this is where I'm going to call it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And as always, I'm JD, and tell your mum I said hi. Alright, that's it. We're out. Bye.